Hey everyone, this is Jennifer Beamer, owner-operator of ExpertlyDyed Art by Science, and this is the daily vlog, episode number 66, and today we are doing an unboxing video. Now, there are a lot of videos out there in the craft space where creators, influencers are unboxing their hauls. And I thought it'd be fun to do a video like this, except it's going to have a little bit of a twist. So for those of you who have followed me on my social media over the last month or so, you'll know that my mom came for a visit. And it was a great visit. But one of the things that she did was she brought things to me that I've really not seen since I left America in 2012. So I did spend some time back in 2015 before I came to the UK just going through all of my stuff and organizing it, but I didn't really have time to process what I had. And I certainly didn't have time to actually focus on the stuff that was there, so I still don't really know what I have. And during the pandemic, my mom, when I was there visiting, she said, we need to send some of this stuff to you. So, brilliant time to be doing it, I know. But everything got sent to me that was pretty much my working inventory, but there was still some things that I had left behind that were from the very, very early days of ExpertlyDyed. So there were a few things that I wanted to highlight. First of all, look at this little bag. I think this must have been something that I knitted before I got the idea to do ExpertlyDyed as a business. So when I was doing my first master's degree in museum studies, I learned how to spin, I learned how to dye, and let's just say the writing was on the wall. I really enjoyed working with it, and this was probably in that period of time, probably when I submitted my master's dissertation but hadn't quite received the result from it, so there was like a month or so. And I think this is just domestic wool, some kind of wool pool from the States that I bought really, really cheaply. Probably got 100 grams, and I spun it with one of my spindles and then dyed it. So, yeah, and I think I was experimenting with lots of different ways of construction. So here at the base you can kind of see I've got a panel for the bottom. So basically I knitted a tube, which was the base of the bag. And then as you would with sewing, you would have a bottom panel that you would pin to the sides, and you'd stitch the bottom to the side panels, flip it around, and then you'd have your inside that has a flat bottom. So I basically reproduced that here with the knitting, which I find really amazing. And then I also did a lining for it, and I think I must have used this as a project bag. So this is probably just a remnant bit of fabric because I have none of this anywhere else. So I'm pretty sure that it was just like well, Joann's used to have those little bags of fabric and other notions, so I probably just bought that as a random thing. And then instead of actually sewing this ribbon on, because I think I liked the way that it looked, I just glued it with like stitching glue. And then I put some stones on there. So you can see the stones on there for just random effect. So yeah, and I didn't even weave in the ends, which is fantastic. I love this. I still will complete projects and never weave in the ends. I know I'm not alone. But yeah, so this was one of my first project bags I ever did. with hand-dyed handspun. When I was still living in America, I had this idea because we had a spare bedroom and I thought I could do a workroom. Well, that's basically around the time when we left, but I started accumulating random stuff and I honestly have no idea where I got this from, but I have a vintage, probably antique, shuttle. And it's got the little metal tip here, which makes me think this was probably from a loom that was not mechanized. So this is probably something that was still hand operated rather than a jacquard loom. I don't know anything about the history of weaving in the more modern era, so the last few centuries, so forgive me if I don't know everything about that. But if you do happen to know, I will post better photos of this somewhere, probably on my blog, and maybe cross-list it to my social media to try and capture some people. But my idea was to use this when actually weaving on my rigid heddle loom. But I have no idea if that will work. I also don't really know if it functions. I mean, the wheels move underneath, but I guess I just don't know if these technologies will work together. Maybe that will be a future project, because I would love to still use this rather than just keep it on a shelf. But if it just sits on a shelf, I think it'll be pretty as it is. And it does look like there is something packed inside there. Possibly some, it looks like flax yarn. But I have not touched this since I bought it. And again, I have no idea where I bought it from. So those were a couple of the highlights I wanted to show you guys before I got into the bulk of this video, which is about fiber storage. And I know I have harped on this many times over, and I've just put out a couple of videos about fleeces, and then I've talked about storage, and I've referred to other things I have done about storage. But I can't tell you enough how important it is to really think about the storage of your wool, because it's an investment. And in a recent post that I put on Instagram, where I was able to go to St. Fagan's in Cardiff, where they've got double Iron Age roundhouses sort of conjoined together, and you go in there and you get this really awesome, grand sense of space. But one of the other things that you are confronted with is the smokiness. And so even though there's no chimney, it filters through the thatched roofing. That smoke is a really great natural pest deterrent. So when I first started getting involved with hand spinning, that was one of the questions I was wondering about. How do people in the past preserve their investment? Because this is how they clothe themselves. This is how they furnish everything. And if your wool goes bad, you still use it, right? But then that means the quality suffers. And from the social perspective, you know, that's also important to consider, because textiles convey a lot of meaning. And, you know, just going to an open air museum like that was incredible for sort of solidifying in my head, like, some of those points that I have raised before about storage. So, I just wanted to share with you how my mom packed everything up and sent it to me. It looks really weird when it's all vacuum sealed like this. But this is wool, I promise you. It isn't like mashed potatoes. So my mom got a sous vide machine and decided this is a great opportunity to learn how to use it. So like I said, my mom, when she visited, put all of the stuff into one of the suitcases so that she could drop off all the wool to me and then take home souvenirs. And I didn't know that she was doing this, but she said, oh, I was going to pack a few things for you. And I was like, okay, yeah, cool, that makes sense. I was not prepared to look at sous vide bags like this. And this is how she packaged it up, right? So she's got all of them just in small portions. And this is the small bag. You see the tote back there? That's what I use to store all of my finished bats so they stay nice and fluffy and clean. I've got one of those full of more of these sous vide wool bags. So like I said, I did not know she was going to be bringing quite this much. I did not know she was going to be packing them like they were freezer ready. But it kind of got my brain going again about the whole, well, how do I store wool? And I've used those like comforter and pillow storage bags, the ones that you can like vacuum the air out of. Those work really well, especially for fleeces. All right, so here we go. I think this must be what some of this is. It says Ram Cormo Cross Fleece. So 2011, 2012 seconds. Ready to card, 500 grams. Yeah, so I must have bought some of this stuff thinking that I was going to use it for something. Because if you ask me now, I don't think this was meant for any of my business related stuff. I think this was just for me. But I couldn't tell you what that project was. Wow. Oh, look. I think that is something I felted ages ago. I think that's Lincoln Longwool right there. Oh my goodness. So for those of you who have bought from World of Wool, you might recognize that bit of the label. This is from when I bought from World of Wool and had it imported to the States, you know, probably in like 2011. Oh, that's so cool. Wow. Look at that. That's a throwback. That was my original card. I used to print these out by, I used to print these out with my home computer, and then they had perforated edges, so you had to like hand tear them. What is this? Oh, it looks like a sample card. So maybe there's some samples that I used to do, and I would make like a few different kinds. This is sort of like the precursor to all of my Fiber Talk episodes I would do before I actually started doing the series. So what I would do is I would make a few samples with a particular wool, or I think this might actually be something else, maybe alpaca. And then I would, and this was I think just a note card. And then I would punch some holes in it, and then I'd pull the sample through so that I could keep that with a fleece. And if I had a thought, oh, what if I did this project with this yarn, then I can go and look and then see, well, I don't know. If I did, I'd have to blend it with something because I don't think it's going to quite work for a project. So I did this a lot actually back in the early days, especially when I didn't have a lot of knowledge about what would work and what wouldn't. So I did a lot of tests. Gosh, I don't even know what that is. Oh, you know what that is? Oh, wow. Amazing. So I know it's all sucked in right now. That is a bit of flax that I saw someone hand pull before I really got into doing fiber shows. So this must have been around late 2010, I want to say. So that's really cool. Amazing. All right. So like I said, this is one of those containers, and it is full of stuff that my mom sent back to me. So amazing. Oh, okay. For those of you who might be in need of a drive band, this I got from a lady who lived in Japan. So when I was living in Korea, I struggled to get a hold of some things, so she very kindly shipped me stuff, and I bought some stuff from her as well. But this is a linen cotton polyester blend. So it's 70% linen, 20% cotton, and 10% linen, or polyester. And you could use this as a drive band. So that's what she's told me in these cute little notes. That's adorable. So yeah, some people like to experiment with drive bands, and for these, I haven't used this one. I think this one's 100% soap. It's just the way that it's been spun. I think this is a 4-ply. Is it? Yeah. So this is 100% silk, and you can use 100% silk as long as it's spun really tightly like this, and you wax it as a drive band. And the reason why I know that is because I've done that. So again, if you are looking for alternatives to the very typical cotton that is used for drive bands, you might find a really nicely spun silk like this, or even make it yourself. Ooh, Wensleydale. Oh, you know what this is? Namaste Fibers. Namaste Farms. So I finally was able to get one of her breed boxes, and this was actually really informative because it talked about like how to understand wool from raw, like how to judge it based on its raw appearance and how it feels and how it smells and all that stuff. Which is already some things I kind of knew, but I hadn't really worked with raw fleeces all that much at this point. But especially because of all the locks. For things like merino, I was much more familiar, but for any of the locks, I wasn't. So this was actually really good to do as part of expanding how I understood how to read a fleece. So that's cool. Sorry, silk. Some more. Oh my goodness. I sound like an old lady. So, okay, you see this little pink square in here, right? Before I did anything with my master's dissertation, I was just a knitter, and I went to, it was the Spinning, Knitting and Weaving Guild, and one of the guild ladies there during one of the nights said, "Oh, have you heard of silk painting?" And when she described it to me, I was like, oh, I gotta give that a shot. And then later, when I did get involved with dyeing and everything, and I was working with silk, I actually made this little silk painting. So I'm gonna have to get that out and show you. I wonder how many of you noticed that I got a haircut. Anyway, so I've got a utility knife. And I'm going to open up a couple of these just because I'm like really, really curious. This is so cool. Okay, so this is that silk painting that I was showing you guys. And I would love so much to do a tutorial with this. So if you are interested in a silk painting tutorial in the way that I've done it here, please post that in the comments below so that I can get all of the silk dyed and ready to go. But I just love this because I don't know if you can really see, if I turn it like that, you can see how the silk is reflecting the light from over there. And I have used what looks like, Layla, I have used what looks like a Ritz cracker box. So yeah, amazing. I love how old that is. What was the other thing? great. I went to see what this little wool sculpture or wool painting that I did was. So I used to, I sort of wonder where all my spare time went. But I used to spend time just experimenting with ideas, but like in small scale, because I didn't have a lot of money. I still don't have a lot of money. So what I would do is I'd have this really big idea, but I wanted to start small to see what it would entail. Did I have the skill? Would I have to learn how to do something first, rather than kind of jump into something that, you know, I envisioned in my head and just then would get really frustrated because I couldn't create it. And then I'd feel really bad if I wasted any resources, because again, for me, I had to save like no one's business just to accumulate what I have here. So yeah, my little landscape painting. And I guess I made this felt. I did a lot of wet felting back in the day as well. So my mom, I don't know how she managed to find it, but I've got all of my wet felting stuff as well. So maybe I will be doing some tutorials making various kinds of felted things. If you would like to see that as a tutorial, please post in the comments below. Oh wow, I wonder if any of these people are still in business. Oh, I used to be part of the Fat Fiber Club. Oh, I completely forgot about this. What a throwback. I'll have to look to see if that still exists, because that, I love that, because you get these little samples in a box. And I've actually made that into a project. So for those of you who have been around for a while, will probably remember that I did an unweaving episode on a vlog a while ago. And I finally completed unweaving it, I think before we left Leicester, so it must have been probably like 2021 or so when I finished it, but I began it back in 2013 because I wove it initially and then hated it, and I was like, well, I still want the yarn back. So, but the yarns that the colored yarns that I used in that warp came from Fat Fiber, and these were all of the business cards that were in that box. Layla, you're so loud. I won't torture you with opening up absolutely everything. But it is kind of fun going through all of these. It's such a throwback. What is this? No label? You know what this is? Oh. There's got to be more of this somewhere. This, I know it doesn't look like anything. This is Navajo churro, and obviously not native to the UK. Oh, I made an entire box of Rolags. So yeah, that, I thought I had used it all, but I guess I didn't. And it's one of those fleeces where you've got a lot of the, well, it's a, well, anyway. Because this is so distinctive, you can't well, I can't mistake it for anything else, because I know this came from my American stash. And it's so different from everything else that I have. I'm sure that my partner downstairs right now is like busy panicking about all of this wool and wondering where I'm going to put it all. Because once I take it out of these bags, it's going to puff up to its normal size. Oh Oh man. I need to wind down this video. Because as much as it's nostalgic for me, I'm sure it's going to get really boring for you guys. So hopefully you enjoyed me doing a very near dear to me sort of unboxing video. Because a lot of the stuff, like I said, I haven't seen for well over a decade. I'm really pleased that from what I've seen so far, it's all pest free. And it still smells either clean or a bit sheepy, which is ideal. I never thought about putting wool in sous vide bags. If that works for you, there you go. Take the idea, use it for your storage. And over probably the next few weeks, I will start integrating some of this stuff into my dyeing schedule so that I can get it out there to you guys. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And if it's been a while, you might want to ding that little notification bell so that you are notified whenever one of my new videos comes out. And for those of you who are interested in replenishing their stash, I have loads of things, yarns, bats, dyed locks, knitting notions on my website, ExpertlyDyed.com. There's also my Patreon, so if you want to support me as a creator, you can head over there and check out what I have available. I do try to post monthly, a couple times a month if I can, and you will be able to get first access to all of my videos and to see them ad-free. And then also I've got a lot of research projects that I'm working on at the moment, so you get your first look of some of the more detailed bits and bobs that I don't make public. Will go there, and then I usually do a follow-up version on my blog, so you can see that at ExpertlyDyed.com as well. But yeah, so I have just given myself a big mess I need to clean up, but that's okay because I needed to have that container free so that I could fill it with new products. So anyway, thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye!